Hey, welcome to another episode of GeekOutdoors.com. Annarasumanara. So The Sound of Magic is a South Korean Netflix series based upon the webtoon Annarasumanara, and you'll be really familiar with that phrase once you watch that series. And it's a combination of a magical fantasy, K-drama coming-of-age story, and it's a musical plus something else. So this series is really different from other K-drama series that I have seen. And the name Sound of Magic sounds a lot like Sound of Music, which is a musical, which this is also musical. And so the general story is we have this high school student. Her name is Yoon Ah-yi, and she's really going through a tough time in her life, really struggling, and it's really hard for her to see any hope and happiness. And during this time, she ends up in this theme park that's been abandoned, and she meets this mysterious magician who really casts a spell on her, and at the same time it also affects another student, Na Il-dong, who comes into this mix, and other people who surrounds it. So in this case, you have this mysterious magician in a theme park who may or may not have magic, or might be an illusionist, or maybe he's something else, plus it's a musical. And then there's a plus factor as well, which is something that I did not expect. It gets a lot different by the end of this series. And so that's kind of like the overall general story. I know it's a mismatch of stuff, but it's really interesting, and it's not something that I see very often. Now, getting to the things that I did like about the series is the entire magical fantasy portion. Because the main magician here, he's very mysterious. You really don't know much about him, and even when you do learn more about him, there's still that whole mystery part of it. And the magic element, that's the part that I really enjoyed, because in this case, you're kind of learning like the main character. You're wondering this whole time, what is he? Who is he? Where did he get here? How is he doing all these things? And is it real? And so all of those things are questions you'll be asking yourself. And I would say it's definitely the best part, especially when it comes to the whole magical fantasy portions. You kind of feel like you're swept away in it. And then the second thing that I enjoyed about this series is just the overall look of it. It has a very colorful look, but also a very dark look as well. And whenever they're in the theme park and magic's going on, that's probably the best part about this in terms of the visual cinematography standpoint. So this is a really good looking series overall. And then the final thing that I did enjoy about this series is the magician. I really did like this magician along with his friend the parrot, and they're probably the best thing about it because they are very different. There's a lot of things that you enjoy about them, but there's also a lot of things that you don't particularly understand or even like. And also at the same time, the main character, the main actor playing this magician, very charismatic. And so this is a character that you feel a lot of different emotions with, along with your main characters in the story. For professional virtual business locations, check out Anytime Mailbox with more than 1,300 locations worldwide at affordable rates. For more information, check out the affiliate link in the description area below. Now, getting to the things that I didn't like as much about the series is, even though I really did thoroughly enjoy the magical fantasy portions, the second half of it was much darker. It even felt like a completely different series, even though they did explain things. And if anything, it really took me out of the series when it got to the second half. And you kind of see what I mean when you watch it. It was completely unexpected. And then the second thing is, besides the magician, all the other characters, even the main characters, Yoon Ah-yi and Na Il-dong, they're really not that interesting at all. And I really wanted to go back to the whole magician and what's going on there, and I didn't really care much about the other characters. And then the final thing, well, I'm not a musical type person. And I know that's really what this is about, the sound of magic. But at least for me, it really didn't do it, because I did enjoy the overall story, and the whole musical singing portion just really took me out of it. And so those are my thoughts on Sound of Magic. The magical fantasy elements, the overall look, the whimsical nature, I did enjoy. But there's things in here that just really didn't make as much sense in the whole narrative and everything that it's trying to do in this world. So if you actually had any thoughts on this series, be sure to leave in the comments area below. And if you did want to see more of my Korean show and movie reviews, I do have an entire playlist. I'll leave that in the description area below. So as always, if you did get value out of these videos, be sure to share, like, and subscribe. And if you're a creative geek like me, and you want to get exclusive access to more content that I don't put out here publicly on my YouTube channel, then join my Gold Content Creators Group, where you're going to get content like this and more for all the creative geeks out there. And the best part is, all of this is free. Simply head over to the link below, check out my page, and sign up for my Gold Content Creators Group.